Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? So today is Wednesday, March 29th. Some of you know that I've been sick for the last week or so. I've recovered now, feeling much better. And today I was very excited to get out on a hike, but it's raining outside, and it's raining a lot. Also, there's thunderstorms coming. So I decided to stay in and do another video in my series, The Zen Teacher Listens To. Now, I think I've only done one other video before. Uh, People seem to respond to that video, and it had some engagement. So I decided, since I can't get out, I want to do another one. Um, First thing I want to clarify is the point of these videos in the series is not to judge any teacher or teaching or to point out faults or to make right or wrong or what's clear and what's not clear. Hopefully, the point of these is that we can all learn something from different teachers. Because as you know, and I've talked about this a lot in my videos, is that a lot of the teachings, even in different traditions, are pointing to the same thing. So when I watch these videos, I'm kind of seeing how or what the teaching is pointing to. And if there's anything that's not clear to me, I might question it or ask a sincere question about it. Okay. So this video is going to be from the teacher Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect. I haven't seen anything from this teacher before. I've definitely heard a lot about this teacher. Obviously, somebody sent me this video to check out. I'm not even sure if this person's a Buddhist teacher or a Zen teacher, but the title is called Staying Present. So that is something I do teach in Zen practice. So I decided to check out this video. So let's begin.
You don't have to be as slow as I am to be present. I'm not always slow, but often.
All right, if there's a kind of dramatic pause here, I'm just going to fast forward this.
Interesting thing to find out for yourself if you've reached a stage in your spiritual evolution where you're able to choose to be free of thinking.
That's an interesting statement when I hear teachers say to be free of thinking. What does that actually mean? I have a lot of people come to me and are wondering how to stop their thinking, right? They're not supposed to have thinking during their sitting meditation. But many of you know I teach that it's not about being free of thinking, it's not attaching to thinking. Where are you putting your energy? Are you putting energy into your thinking, or are you putting energy into this moment right now? So even though thinking's appearing, your energy is present in this moment. So just curious of how he's going to talk about that. So let's see.
Without exerting willpower to suppress thought. And without stopping your breathing. And without engaging in a life-threatening activity, which could easily stop your mind. Walking on a tightrope, will certainly stop your mind for 2 seconds before you fall off.
So we have a big question in Zen that what is mind, actually? So he just mentioned about stopping the mind. But what is mind? Somebody asked Zen Master Matsu, what is Buddha? And he said, Buddha is mind. So that kind of raises the question, then what is Buddha?
Now, some of you are able to do that when you're not being disturbed by anything or anybody. Everything is fine. You're sitting quietly in your room or outside. And then you just go. There's an intensity of awareness, but there's no willpower. You're not willing it to happen. You're not willing, you're not suppressing thought. So if you're not yet there, that's fine. You can choose other ways of taking attention away from the stream of thinking by placing attention on sensory perception into your body, the inner body, or on your breathing that's happening naturally. So, as the Buddha said, when they asked how to attain enlightenment, he said, just be aware that you're breathing. Is that all? They said. He said, yes. I don't know if that's in any of the scriptures, though.
I get that a lot too, right? The Buddha said this, the Buddha said that. We don't know what the Buddha said. We just know what we've been told. But again, I think what's behind the point or the teaching's more important than whatever the Buddha said. It's kind of interesting when he was talking about people may have this experience, right, of this clarity when they're sitting meditation in the room. What about when you're at work and somebody's yelling at you, or maybe your kids are screaming at you, or somebody's telling you that you didn't do a good job? Then how do you keep your mind then? Now, he did say something interesting about attention, which I mentioned earlier, right? So it's not like we're trying to stop our thinking. We're not putting energy into our thinking. We're putting, or as he mentioned, energy into your breath. So that's kind of a meditation techniques. Some of you know that some people will follow their breath. Some people will have a mantra. There's many different techniques that we can put our energy into, right? So we're not pulled around by thinking. Doesn't mean there's no thinking. We're just not controlled by it.
But I'm sure that's what he said. He did recommend highly awareness of your breath. The rest was me adding something to it, which I do believe he did say, because every spiritual teacher is very simple. Now, as long as you're aware that you're breathing, you can't be thinking. So he didn't say, don't think. He said, be aware of your breath. So your attention moves away from mind and goes, you feel the inflow and outflow of the breath. You even feel every subtle movement of the breath, where it enters your nose, then it flows in, and then it flows out, and you follow it with your attention. And while you're doing it, you're not breathing. You're not thinking.
I'm really curious about this, again, this teaching about no thinking. Why is thinking so bad? Even though he never said that. But is thinking bad? I mean, we have to think in order to function in our life. But I don't think that's the issue. Maybe this is what he's pointing to. It's putting our energy into the thinking and holding it, or again, trying to stop it, which even makes it stronger. When we teach meditation instruction, or at least when I teach meditation instruction, we have the same thing. We talk about how to keep your body, what to do with your breath, how to keep your mind. We suggest some kind of mantra or phrase. But again, it's not to stop the thinking, it's just to see it clearly for what it is, because thinking is just truth. Breathing in and breathing out is just truth. The cars driving by right now is just the truth. The rain falling outside is just the truth.
But it's possible if you try to sustain the no thinking stage for too long, it's possible that without you noticing it, you're going, and then that means you're going from to. Oh, so it can happen
I guess people like him because he's funny.
very quickly. If you go to a Buddhist monasteries where monks spend a long time meditating, you can observe how it happens to the monks. They start off and then they go after 20 minutes, half an hour, especially if it's 4:30 in the morning.
All right, I have to admit, being a monk myself and practicing in a monastery and long retreats, I've definitely seen this, especially early in the morning. Many people are sleeping during this time.
And then you're able to be in that state of pure awareness or presence, even while things happen. That's next step, so to speak. Even while you're talking to your attorney, there's a court case coming up. Are you able to be in presence while you listen to what he has to say?
I guess in this part too, what he's talking about is how does meditation function in our life? So it's not like something we do on the side as a hobby where we get some good state or good feeling. And then other than that, we're just living our life. It means how do we bring that meditation mind, this clear mind, the mind that's aware from moment to moment to moment? He gave the example of a lawyer, but we all have this experience. Maybe a dear friend is talking to us about a problem and we're shaking our head, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But our mind is completely somewhere else. Again, this is the habitual conditioning that we have as human beings, is we're conditioned to hold or attach to our thinking. So our attention is not present. And that's not good or bad. It just has a natural result. If a loved one or dear friend is talking to us and we're just shaking our head, and then what do you have to say about that? And you're like, huh? What? You're not listening to me? So meditation has a practical function. So again, it's not just about being clear or feeling good. It's about perceiving the moment as it is, actually becoming the moment as it is, and then responding to what's arising. That's really important.
Or there's an obnoxious person in your vicinity. This is not an uncommon occurrence, since a greater part of humans if not are obnoxious, but periodically become obnoxious. In other words, very unconscious. Humans move into different levels of consciousness and unconsciousness. It's not always the same person that you meet. It's a delusion to think once you have become acquainted with somebody that this is going to be the same person you're going to meet the next day.
I find that true in most moments of my life. Like I have some idea about my kids, I have some idea about my wife. So when they appear in front of me, my view of them and what they're saying is filtered through my idea. So meditation, mindfulness, being present, aware, whatever you want to call it, means taking away that idea at that moment. If a person appears in front of us, at that moment, our mind and their minds are not separate. And there's more intuitive interaction happening rather than seeing the moment through this filtered idea. Because we all know through our experiences, that's what causes dissatisfaction and suffering in our lives and others.
And then the mind comes up with strange conclusions. I won't trust anybody anymore. He really let me down. He's a liar. He's just pretending to be nice. He was so nice when I know he was just pretending. No.
This is what we call a checking mind. We're always seeing something and then adding something to it. So again, this is what causes a lot of problems in our life rather than just seeing the truth.
And you can observe it in yourself that you're sometimes more conscious than at other times. You're sometimes very present, even in a challenging situation. At other times, a challenging situation or person pulls you into unconscious reactivity. Then you wake up a few minutes or an hour later, or a day. As more consciousness emerges through you, the time period between unconsciousness and waking up again out of an unconscious reactive episode is shorter. You don't stay in it for a week complaining about people and what they did to you. Your mind never stops replaying.
Yeah, so this is what we call holding. So I think I made a video about this, about how human beings make something. So there's the truth, then we add something to the truth, then we check it. Oh, I'm not doing good, or this person's not doing good, right? This is kind of natural. I don't want to say natural, but it's definitely part of the human conditioning that we all have. And then there's the holding, that we don't let it go. And I've noticed the stronger the sense of self is, that means the stronger this I is, then this holding is tighter, and it can last a long time. I know he said maybe days, sometimes weeks. I know people who are still holding after years and years and years. The holding will kill you. So all of us are not perfect. Even if you've been practicing meditation for a long time, you're going to mess up. We make mistakes. But most important, again, if we're seeing or using our meditation in every situation, when we make a mistake, we just see it as truth. So then what? So if something happens and we upset somebody or we get upset, then what? So even if you make a mistake, just see it for what it is. Don't hold it. Let go. Then you won't check it as much. Then you can see it for what it is and then respond in a different way. It creates a lot more options in our life rather than just one option, which is suffering.
Situation in your mind, different versions of it that could have happened if you only had said the right thing. And then you can imagine when next time you're confronted with this person, how it's going to unfold, and you feel angry. and can't sleep at night. And you don't even know what's happening to you. Until something suddenly, it actually is like waking up out of a dreamlike state. What was that all about? So as far as trusting other people is concerned, can you trust people? Yes, trust everybody to behave. You can trust that they will behave according to their level of consciousness at any given time. Complete trust. No more is possible. Now, to be more integrated, to be a human being that is no longer taken over by reactive episodes to such an extent that virtually another person emerges temporarily, there needs to be more awareness that there still may be remnants of these subpersonalities, these surviving for a certain period of time in you, but they no longer take you over. That you can still feel the energy behind it when certain things happen. But what awareness does, it integrates all that. It no longer is no longer one entity that takes you over completely. And
that's an interesting point. I talk about this all the time too. So again, it's not like thinking and feeling go away. It's still there, but it's not controlling your actions and speech. So right now, it's really raining hard outside. If I put my energy into that sound, then I cannot hear this video. I'm not able to talk clearly right now in this moment because my attention and energy is somewhere else. So this is what causes a lot of problems in our lives. We're not connected to what's happening in the moment. Rather than if I put all my energy into this moment, the rain's still happening. Cars are still driving by outside, but I'm able to do my job in the moment. And that job right now is sitting here on this chair talking to all of you.
Or if it does, then immediately after you know, oops, there it was. So eventually awareness, then you become an integrated being with still a few energy flows here and there, but not a big deal anymore.
Okay, well, I guess that's the video. I thought it was interesting. It's kind of in line of how I teach Zen meditation. Really comes back to the most important is how do we actually do that? Right? We can listen to these kinds of talks and it feels good or it makes sense in our head, but how do we actually do it in this moment? So that's really the whole purpose of any kind of meditation practice is put your energy into what's happening. Don't be pulled around by anything that's appearing in your mind. The sixth ancestor of Zen, his first kind of wake up experience is when he was walking in this village and he heard somebody chanting the Diamond Sutra. And there was a line that says, "Don't attach to anything that arises in your mind." Right? And there was some kind of awakening there. So that's really what all of these teachings are about, is right now, in this moment, what is happening? What do you see right now in this moment? What's the situation that's happening? What's the relationship that's happening in the moment, right? Because that will change our response. So all of that has to be clear. In fact, if we just throw all of this away, what I'm saying right now, then you are the moment and you'll know what to do without even thinking about it. So those are my thoughts about this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. And if there's a teacher or teaching you want me to check out, you can put it in the comments below, or you can email me, jason@jasonquinzen.com, and I'll put it on my list. And if you already sent me something, I do have a list of all of these. I just haven't had time to do a lot of these videos. So I hope that was helpful for you. And again, forget about all of this stuff. What's happening right now, and how can I help?